Friend from West Virginia. Ms. Secretary, it's great to see you today. Thanks for your ability to stay with us. Thank you for coming to Arkansas. It was a real pleasure to show you the success of the RAD program in public housing, in both in Little Rock and North Little Rock, where we're over $100 million we'll be putting in the ground for our public housing residents. One building you and I looked at was built in 1937, so I'm glad we've rushed around to getting it completely fixed. Thank you for that.
It was very impressive, some of the things that were going on there.
Well, and I want to talk to you about the Envision Centers. You know, this is a good initiative, I think, of HUD, and you toured our house in Little Rock, which I think could be a real model for managing Envision Centers. Is it your vision about Envision that the nonprofit sector could take the lead in providing those services to our public housing residents?
Absolutely, and it's very important that they do take the lead in doing it because we want the ownership and the direction to be locally based. We intentionally designed the program so that you wouldn't have a bunch of bureaucrats in Washington trying to run it, and that way it's not altered when administrations switch.
Also, Mr. Heck was talking to you about housing affordability, and one of the best things I've noted about housing affordability this year is that incomes are up in our economy, and some people have derided the President's Tax Cuts Act as crumbs or hip, hip, hooray that the economy is doing better. But in my district, the typical FHA loan is about $119,000. So if you look at the interest cost of that, a $2,000 benefit to a family, that's like 3 monthly payments.
Absolutely.
That's like 50% of a down payment for an FHA loan. More than covers the insurance for that whole family for more than a year on a house of that size. So I hate the derision about the success of letting families keep more of their income, but I think it will help us boost housing affordability across this country and get more families into housing. Do you share that view?
Absolutely. As the old saying goes, a rising tide floats all boats. And anything that we can do that increases the economy, increases opportunities for people, obviously solves a whole lot of problems.
The other thing, and Mr. Heck talking about housing affordability, a worthy topic. Another thing I know in some districts, Arkansas is very affordable. We encourage all people to come live and work in Arkansas where housing is affordable. But in certain places, I hope you'll speak out against excessive costs, regulatory costs, development costs that drive up the cost per unit of housing, like in Southern California, for example.
Well, that's one of the big issues. There's the zoning restrictions and the regulatory costs that have driven things out of sight. And you know what we're going to be doing with AFFH is getting people to relax some of those things.
Thank you very much.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Trying to recognize